Hello, Christ Church friends and family. It's Pastor Ben here with the weekly update. This week in worship, we're going to wrap up our 4-week series entitled I've Been Meaning to Ask. I hope you have found it meaningful. I hope you've learned something about each other as we work towards beloved community. If you haven't had a chance yet, it's not too late to ask those wonderful questions. Where are you from? Where does it hurt? What do you need? This week's question: where do we go from here as we wrap up this series? And we come to a text from Acts. And as a way of getting into it and prompting you for Sunday, I wonder if you might think about any rules or guiding principles, maybe norms from your childhood, the house and the environment you grew up in, that as you got older and went out into the world and encountered folks and life experiences and learned and your own narrative unfolded, that you began to realize needed to be redefined or embodied differently or lived out differently or maybe changed altogether. Peter, as he's helping give shape to the early church, has an encounter. A sheet comes down out of heaven and he hears the voice of God inviting him to open up, to expand, to keep learning, to recognize that God was still ever evolving about who was in and out. It's a powerful, engaging story, and we get to watch Peter's transformation, and I hope in doing so, we might experience transformation as well. Hope to see you either in person or online on Sunday. Just a little quick word. I always, maybe am not as intentional as I would like to be about saying hello and welcoming those who are online. We have a rather large presence from all over the country and folks who don't always make it in, but worship with us, and just know that I see you, and I am so glad that you are with us. Some other things I want to make sure that you're aware of, some dates as we go forward. October 13th will be our benevolence concert. We've got a world-renowned flutist who's going to be with us, along with some other musicians from our community. Going to be raising resources to support our ongoing partnership with Habitat for Humanity. So join us for a fun day of music and ice cream and doing a lot of good in the world. The following Sunday, on October 20th at 4 o'clock, we're going to have our annual Blessing of the Animals. We'll do that under our bell tower. Come one, come all, come big, come small. Bring your wonderful creature that you find comfort in and get to care for and blesses you. And whatever that creature is, I've blessed it all. But maybe you've got something I haven't. I'd love to have an opportunity, we would, to bless your beloved creature. So look forward to that event. It's a great way, by the way, to bring a neighbor or friend or someone else that you've thought about maybe introducing to our community of faith, but weren't sure if a Sunday morning was the first right step. So that's a great way to bring someone along. We'll have a lot of fun at that day. And then the following Sunday afternoon, so we've got a series of Sunday afternoons. The following Sunday afternoon, we'll have our annual trunk or treat event out in the church parking lot. We'll need your car trunk, we'll need resources of candy, and we'll need you thinking about your best costumes as we invite the neighborhood, the larger community, through family ministries to come to Christ Church. Again, another wonderful sort of low bar to entry to connecting with Christ Church. Always a fun event. Love seeing you guys in your costumes, and hope you're working on those now. All those events on those Sunday afternoons, by the way, begin at 4 o'clock. A couple things I've mentioned in some past weeks, but want to just be sure to circle back around. Sometimes we need to hear things more than once. Our nominations or lay leadership team in the life of the church is about the work of discerning who will lead in future years in the life of the church. They're making phone calls and sending out invitations to those that were invited into those roles. And so if you hear one of those, I hope you're listening for the voice of God, and hope maybe you'll be able to say, "Here I am, Lord," in response. You also should be aware that we've invited a small group folks into a worship study team. We had a wonderful opportunity this summer to worship at 1 hour all together. Also recognizing the last time a worship study team evaluated our Sunday morning rhythms was before COVID. Was there ever a time before COVID? Mercy. So that group over this fall semester is going to be looking again at our Sunday morning rhythms. And I understand they're going to be tasked with maybe interviewing folks in the congregation. So if one of those folks reaches out and is looking to have a sense of your understanding of worship and what works well and what we might alter or shift, I hope you'll give them good and wonderful feedback. And then you heard me mention briefly last week, we are evaluating our space usage. Our trustees we're gifted with lots of space. We're not always and everywhere using it or maybe being the best stewards of it. And we're evaluating ways that we might use some of it to generate resources to fund mission and ministry. Kind of the first major transition that's happening is downstairs in building 103. That had been youth space. Our youth are moving upstairs and are going to have some great space up there. Pastor Lee's doing a wonderful job, and they often already meet up there. But we're going to have a new tenant moving in, and you'll see some signage about that as we move through October and get into November. So just be aware that our trustees are doing a great job of helping us use our assets really well. Last few things as we wrap up today. As we get into October, we're going to enter into a sermon series around the book of James, one of the epistles. We're titling it loosely at this moment called The Road Less Traveled, but we'll be exploring the book of James in October. It's a wonderful book that talks about faith and works and the intersection of those as we move into the fall. It'll be good to think about how we live out our faith in the world, and it's not just something that's in our heads. And then last, certainly prayers go out to all who are in the path of Hurricane Helene. It looks like a doozy of a storm and lots of disaster. And we'll look through the United Methodist Committee on Relief, UMCOR, to help us know how we respond in the aftermath. I hope you will stay safe and well. And I look forward to seeing you on Sunday as we ponder where do we go from here. Take care. God bless. We'll see you soon.